Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Tato Jayamudirayet Yudhiṣṭhira uvāca ajñānenāvṛto lokaḥ tamasā na prakāśate lobhāttyajatimitrāṇi saṃgātsvargaṃ na gacchati. So the first two lines are about ajñāna and its immediate effect, brahmaha. Ajñānam, cause, brahmaha, the effect. That is how we live. So people talk of chaos in the world. There is no chaos in the world, except the chaos which is there in the mind, in our minds. So our minds are chaotic, therefore we experience chaos outside. And the minds are chaotic because of ajñāna. So you see, we have a false idea of oneself. Like I entertain a false idea about myself as separate from everything else and separate from God. Therefore, now you have to deal with the two things. One is the world which is other than you, and you have to deal with it, and it is bigger than you, you are very small. And then there is a God, the tyrant. God is always a tyrant, sitting somewhere ready to punish us and all that. So, therefore, that is how we live in constant fear, anxiety. And so this is ajñāna. Suppose you understand that you have infinite potential. Suppose you understand that. You have infinite potential. That means the division between oneself and Brahman or Ishvara is over. That will be gone. And then you understand that the world is nothing but a collection of names and forms and hence unreal. You are real, not the world. Therefore, that problem is resolved. So this is how you have to understand yourself correctly. You see, I suggest the world is because you are. Don't forget about that. Then the bad is because you are. Good is because you are. God is because you are. Devil is because you are. In sleep, the self-conscious person is absent and any of these things are not present. You are the center of the cosmos and you forget yourself. This self-forgetfulness is the darkness. We have talked about it. So then one more thing I would say. People suffer. They have suffering in life. There is sorrow in life. That is fine. That is fine means that is understood. We can understand that. There is no cynicism about that. But you assume the cause of sorrow wrongly. What is the cause of sorrow? So people have all kinds of wrong notions about the causes of sorrow. Do you know, a person believes that the person is in suffering. Person is in suffering. That is given. And we are not questioning that. But the person is suffering because of some evil spirit. This I said earlier. What evil spirit? What evil? Just take the person to a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist will examine and he will have a better understanding. and he will give a nice counseling, and he may even need to give a pill also because the person is suffering. So do the right thing. So you imagine all kinds of evil spirits, male evil spirits, female evil spirits, Hindu evil spirits, Muslim evil spirits. Kya baat hai? What is all this? Why people believe in all these things? So therefore, when you become a victim of such superstitions, that is the ajñāna. So you see, the point that I was trying to make is the ajñāna expresses in the form of identification with the external. That is the point I am trying to make. The suffering is not caused by any evil spirit, unless you say the evil spirit is yourself. And what is evil in myself, you identify with the external. You should not identify. That is the Atma, Anatma, Aviveka, the lack of discrimination between Atma and Anatma. You identify with the external and suffer. Right? Like for example, there is some physical thing outside, you identify with it and suffer. Like a car is there. Car is a means of transportation that is required. You may want to keep it in good shape and you want to protect it also. All that is fine. I'm not saying anything against that. But you identify with it and try to use the car for self-aggrandizement. That makes you suffer. Use the car. Don't identify with the car. The moment you identify with the external, you suffer. Live in a house. Don't identify with the house. The moment you identify with the house, you suffer. This self-identification with the external is the single cause of suffering in life. Okay? Because the real which you are is not the same as, is not connected to anything external. In fact, it is not even connected to the body-mind. What to speak of other external. Therefore, you do not identify with the external, you will not suffer. The moment you identify with the external, ajñāna, and then bhramaha, delusion and suffering, all that will follow. So, then one more way I will put it, this ajñāna thing. I am still discussing about ajñāna only, those first two lines. I don't remember how much I have discussed yesterday. So, self-forgetfulness is the greatest injury. Now I ask you, suppose a young lady is there. She walks into a jewelry shop. This is the India thing. I don't know how they do it here. They may not be as crazy, I suppose. So the young lady walks into the jewelry shop and he is looking at a diamond necklace. Now, while looking at the diamond necklace, does she remember herself at all? No. She forgets herself totally. What you see is everything. The one who sees is nothing. The one who sees is not in the consciousness. Only the external is in the consciousness, to such an extent that you forget yourself. This is called self-forgetfulness. So, all the calamities in life flow from self-forgetfulness. Therefore, you first take care of the most important. The lesser will take care of itself. The most important thing is, do not allow self-forgetfulness to enter into your life. Because that is ajñāna, and that will cause unending suffering. So first take care of that. Then other things will fall in line. It is like you do not tidy up a dark room. First, you open the windows, let the light flood in, then you tidy up the room. Similarly, ajñāna tamasā na prakāśate. Ajñāna is the darkness in which you are ignorant of yourself. You do not know yourself. You do not know about the world. You do not know anything about the God. Now you go and interact with the world. No surprise that it makes us suffer. Now you go and worship God. People worship all false gods because they don't know what is the real God. You worship gold. Is gold real God? Is wealth real God? People worship all kinds of false gods because ajñāna. Therefore, first tidy up, first allow the light to flood in, then you tidy up the room, not while the room is dark. Therefore, you allow the light to flood in, that makes everything easy. You can clean the room very easily. So, then one more thing, people want to improve others. This is another problem. You want to improve others. Why should you improve others? You improve yourself. Improve yourself. So a person asked me, I am having a running feud with my spouse. So what should I do about it? I said, you have to correct yourself. That is where it starts. Because you are living in falsehood. That's why you manage to have a running feud with the spouse. So you correct yourself. What about the spouse? You need not correct her. Or him for that matter. You need not. You correct yourself. That is enough. And see what happens. You correct yourself and see what happens. Therefore, you see, Mahatma Gandhi said, you know what he said? I am putting in my words. I wanted to change the world. But then I thought about it and understood that I cannot change the world. But I can change myself. Therefore, I changed myself and then looked around and found that the world doesn't require any change. You got the point? You see the need for a change in the world because you have to change first. And the moment you change properly, you will see that the world doesn't require any change. The world is doing perfectly all right. It is cosmos, it is. It is not chaos. It is perfectly all right. Some of these questions are there. Okay, we'll come to it. So, therefore, this is ajñāna. We have to address it. Now, one more thing about ajñāna. You see, suppose this I said, but I will add another aspect to that. There is a fruit on the branch of the tree hanging, but there is a lot of foliage around, and two people are looking at it. One is able to see the fruit, the other is unable to see the fruit. So, now, what should the other person do to see the fruit? What are the qualifications that are required for seeing the fruit? He should be a Brahmana or Kshatriya, he should be a Hindu, or what should he be? You tell me that. He need not be any of these things. He only has to do only one thing. Shift the focus of attention. That is all he has to do. That's why Manushya-adhikarat. In India what happened, the sad part of it is, they said only particular caste people are eligible for Atma Jnanam. Can you believe it? Traivarnikāh, etc. Only those people are eligible for Atma Jnanam. Okay, Shudra is not eligible for Atma Jnanam, let us say. What is the Atma of the Shudra? Is it contaminated by the Shudra-ness? No, Atma is not contaminated. Then why you talk that kind of a double talk? On one side, the Atma is not contaminated by Shudra-ness. Then why a Shudra need not understand his own Atma as much as you and I? What is this division, dividing the society? So this is how ajñāna operates. You see, the Vakya, I am amazed at the Vakya. you do not come across any wisdom anywhere in the society. It is all-encompassing stupidity. Ajñānenāvṛto lokaḥ tamasā na prakāśate. All-encompassing. Everywhere. Therefore, you don't wait for the world to change. You need not change the world. You need not acquire some special qualifications, etc. Just set right your thinking, your understanding, you will be able to see the truth. And all your suffering will come to an end. Very simple. Therefore, so you have to pay attention to the self. You have to address the issue of self-forgetfulness. When you are angry, do you agree that you forget yourself? And when you have a desire, intense desire, you forget yourself. Any particular emotion, when you are jealous or whatever, you forget yourself. All the time, we forget the self. That is ignorance. And that causes untold suffering. Therefore, you have to address ajñāna. Now, I tell you, jnana cannot be recognized. A realized soul does not have any particular marks. No particular marks. The people try to create something like that Mahatma, he is a great Mahatma. When he is alone in the room, there is so much wind blowing out everywhere. So that kind of stories they tell. So wind blowing out, that makes him a Mahatma? No, there were no fans, there is no wind anywhere, except where he sat only, there is wind blowing out. So you are imagining something. It doesn't happen like that. There are laws of nature. And those laws, Boyle's law, Charles' law, Bernoulli's law, those laws must be operating in the air around him. Something special cannot happen. No, it happens. You are just imagining. Suppose, let us say, all the laws are violated, some special miracle is happening. Is it a mark of jnana? Is the miracle a mark of jnana? People are very credulous, gullible. You can put anything into their head. Anything. I can do like this, and some powder falls from it, and I can become a Mahatma. People are ready to believe anything. That's why ajñānenāvṛtolokastamasā lokaḥ. You see, the world is the same at that time as well as this time. I told you, but I remind you, therefore I remind you, there was an archaeological excavation in which they excavated a tablet and it deciphered the tablet. Something is written on the tablet and deciphered the tablet. What is written is, people are ignorant. They do not know anything. That is what is written. This Yakṣapraśnāḥ is like archaeological excavation only. It is 5,000 years old text it is. And today is the same as that day. Same thing. There are no distinct marks for jnana. Only ajñāna can be recognized. This is ajñāna. Jnana cannot be recognized. You should know that. That's why he is talking about ajñāna. He is not talking about jnana, because you cannot recognize jnana. All those proclaim their own greatness are not great. All those proclaim their own uniqueness are not unique. All those who proclaim their realization are not realized souls. Because they are mistaking some unusual development in themselves as realization. Nothing more than that. Okay? So they are not realized souls. Somebody said, I am realized soul because I have 6 fingers. 6 fingers is not a sign of realization. It is some unusual physical development. Okay? You cannot say I have a big round pot belly, therefore I am realized. You cannot say that. You cannot say that. Okay? And my age is 180 years. Therefore I am a realized soul. Wrong. Two wrongs, not one. First, your age is not 180 years, it is 75 years. You are bluffing. And assuming that it is true, that is not mark of jnana. And you take it as a mark of jnana, shows that you are a ajñāni. Therefore, there are no marks to be a jnani. A jnani doesn't proclaim himself to be a jnani. A jnani functions like a jada, as though he is a novice, a very inconspicuous, that is how a jnani is. Altogether unknown in the society. That is how jnanis are. The world did not know about Ramana Maharshi till Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni appeared on the scene. And how many years Ramana Maharshi was there before Ganapati Muni reached there? It is said some 30 years he was there. And then Ganapati Muni reached there. Therefore we know about Ramana Maharshi today. Till then, nobody understood Ramana Maharshi as a Mahatma. So, therefore, same thing with Sri Ramakrishna. Vivekananda has brought out the name of Sri Ramakrishna. That is how it happens. Therefore, jnanis are not self-proclaiming people. So, in fact, you know this, a jnani considers himself to be perfectly normal. Whereas ajñānis, they are not normal, they are very abnormal people. A jnani looks at himself as very normal. The world is unreal. There is nothing abnormal about it. It is a very simple, normal, routine understanding it is for a jnani. And I am not the body-mind. That is normal for a jnani. Spontaneously not identifying with the body-mind. That is how jnanis are. So, you see, somebody proclaims that I know everything. I have all the powers. I can fly in the sky. All these things, they make for popularity. You can become popular. Our Yakṣapraśnāḥ, what is his name? Yakṣapraśnāḥ. He is a freak. They call him a freak. And he gives shows in Las Vegas. And he is a very well-known person. Okay? So he is not a jnani. He is a well-known person. So he performs some magics. So just because somebody performs some magic, that doesn't make him Brahmajnani. Therefore, Jan is also a magician. And we went to the magic show. His name is David Copperfield. That is a well-known, David Copperfield is a well-made name. We better don't take that name. Suppose somebody says, my name is Albert Einstein. That doesn't sound very nice, I suppose. Anyway, it is up to him. So, who am I to say one way or the other? Therefore, you have to understand, you have to work at the ignorance. You see, suppose you have a conflict in you, conflict in your life. People live with conflict. Conflict, struggle, they are all together. Conflict leads to struggle. And then disharmony. And conflict is disharmony. Yes. Suppose there is, let us say, there is conflict in life. Now you examine that conflict. At the base of that conflict, or in the origin of that conflict, there is an identification. You just examine that conflict, you will understand. Suppose you have a conflict in the office, suppose. instead of finding fault with the other person, you examine your mind. That conflict has its origin in an identification that you have taken upon yourself. I am such and such, I am this, I am that. Some identification is there in you which creates conflict. Now you remove that identification, conflict is gone. Very simple. Any conflict. So the classical mother-in-law, daughter-in-law conflict has its origin in identification. The lady identifies herself as mother-in-law. The young lady identifies herself as daughter-in-law. That is the origin of the conflict. If they stop that identification, the elderly woman looks at the young woman as a young lady as her daughter, and the young lady looks at the old woman as her mother. There is no conflict. All conflict comes to an end at once. Just this is the classical example. I gave it. Many times I have said it. Therefore, I tell you one thing. You cannot get rid of your problems of life without abandoning your illusions. That's it. So, illusions are the evil spirits. They are the devils that make you suffer. There are no other evil spirits. There are no other devils. Your illusions are the cause of your suffering. So every single time you experience sorrow or suffering, you examine yourself, look within, and locate the illusion which is causing that suffering. That is enough. The suffering will be gone. Therefore, I would say, be happy. The only way to be happy is get rid of wrong ideas. So that is all. You need not do anything more than that. Get rid of wrong ideas. You see, people are extremely agitated recently when the results came. Some of them, not all. They were very agitated. Of course, one or two letters have come to us, but in the newspapers, etc., you can see many of them were very agitated when the results came. Because they are sure that the result should not have come that way. And it will lead to some chaos. There is no problem with the result. There is no problem with the world. World is perfect. No chaos in the world. The chaos is in your head. And the idea that the result is wrong is a wrong idea. Result is never wrong. How does Newton's third law can go wrong? It can never go wrong. It will always come right. You do any experiment, say how many experiments you want to do, you do. Every single time, Newton's third law comes right. Therefore, things happen in the world according to a scheme, which is beyond our comprehension. And things never go wrong. Therefore, you address the wrong ideas that you have in yourself. Recognize them and get rid of them. That is enough. You know what people do? Please understand. They are busy collecting right ideas. You know that? They are busy collecting right ideas. You need not collect any right ideas. There is no such thing. You just get rid of wrong ideas. That is enough. Ajñānenāvṛtolokastamasā. Lokaḥ. Just stop imagining all kinds of wrong things. Stop misunderstanding. It is enough if you stop misunderstanding. There is no right understanding. There is only misunderstanding. You just get rid of it. That is enough. So, don't rely upon your mind to free you from sorrow. Mind, it necessarily picks up a wrong idea and holds on to that. Don't rely upon the mind. Gain some space with reference to the mind. Examine the mind and its content, its ideas, and recognize the wrong and dismiss it. You are doing perfectly all right. It is the mind that brings you into sorrow. It is the mind that brings you into bondage. You pay attention to the mind, that attention liberates you, not the mind. Mind is not going to liberate. Attention liberates. Therefore, the good news is ignorance has no beginning, but it can have an end. It can end. That is the good news. This is another thing. In Vedanta it is there. Big fights in Vedanta. When did ignorance begin? Okay. It's the silliest of the questions. I asked a person, do you know Russian language? He said, no, I don't know. Since when you don't know Russian language? You tell me. Do you know German? Yes, I know. Since when you know German? He can tell. He can tell. I went to Germany and settled there, and since so-and-so, in 20 years, I know German language. Okay, you know German language since 20 years. Since how many years you don't know Chinese language? What kind of a question it is? So people want to find out the antecedents of ajñāna, ignorance. You may have some logic in all of that, but that doesn't take you anywhere. Don't search for the antecedents of the ajñāna. Try instead to get rid of the ajñāna. That is enough. So don't sit in the darkness. Don't sit in the darkness saying all kinds of things about the darkness. It is bad, this and that. Just light a lamp and be done with it. Do you know, in India it is pertinent to the discussion, that's why I am saying. About ajñāna, there are two schools. And they fight with each other vehemently. One school comes from Hole Narsipur, Satchidanandendra Saraswati. And another school is the traditional school. So the contention between the two schools is whether there is ajñāna and brahma. Two things are there or only one thing. That is the bone of contention. It is like I am infected by a bacteria and I am suffering very badly. I may even die of the infection also. But I want to know whether the vector of this bacteria is there or there is no. That is why I want to know. Something like that. Try something about the infection. Why do you want to know the origin of the infection? May not be a good example. Some example I gave. Therefore, so ajñāna and brahma, ignorance and delusion. Are they two separate things or are both are one? They are two separate things. This is the traditional school. They are one only. That is the Hole Narsipur school. They asked me, to which school do you belong? I said, I don't belong to any school, Appa. I belong to the school of understanding, clarity of thought. To that school I belong. I don't want to enter into that fight because it is all so much of gobbledygook, if you know what I mean. Gobbledygook. It is one word. G-O-B-B-L-E-D-Y-G-O-O-K. Gobbledygook. One word. Means lot of technical jargon nonsense. That is the meaning of it. That. So we don't want to go into all that. We have to address this ignorance, this delusion, this misunderstanding. And so ignorance has no beginning, but it can end. That is important. How to end the ignorance? Now I will conclude this discussion of ignorance with this question. How to end the ignorance? Very simple. Inquire who is ignorant. who is it that is ignorant? You inquire. The ignorance will dissolve like a dream. Somebody is a part and parcel of the dream, and he is suffering. In the dream he is suffering. So he wakes up. Wakes up means what? Who is that is suffering in the dream? That is the question, right? That is waking up. The dream dissolves. There is no dream anymore. You got the point? Yeah. Therefore, you ask the question, who is ignorant? This is ignorance. Who is ignorant? You ask the question. I am ignorant. No, you are not ignorant. You are aware of the ignorance. The moment you find that it is ignorance, now you are not ignorant anymore. Suppose evil spirit, it is ignorance. Evil spirit is ignorance. Because there are no evil spirits. Your ignorance it is, that you assume that there are spirits somewhere above hovering around all that. It is ignorance. And I am the one who is ignorant. Now what happens to that ignorance? It just dissolves. It just dissolves. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that? Now, in Vedanta we talk of Atma. What is this Atma? I tell you, there is a problem with that. Self-knowledge, unless you are very clear, if you are very clear, you can use it, nothing wrong in it. But if you are not clear, the expression self-knowledge itself can be misleading. Because there cannot be self-knowledge, there can only be self-inquiry. Atma vichara. Okay? Then what is this expression self-knowledge, Atma? You know what is Atma? It is nothing but the absence of the ajñāna of Atma. That's it. Over. Okay? Therefore, all talk of Atma without proper understanding, you talk of Atma. So means there is a thing called Atma, and you have to understand that. Now you do not know it. That is Atma, right? That is the talk of Atma. Ramana Maharshi addressed this issue. Somebody went and told, I am ignorant of Atma, please guide me. Ramana Maharshi so told, the one who is talking to me that I am ignorant is the Atma. And then he said, first you know yourself. Even before you know ignorance, you know yourself. Okay? And now I don't know God. Okay? You have understood that you don't know God. But before understanding that you don't know God, you know yourself. Okay? Therefore, all talk of Atma, as though there is Atma and you have to gain its knowledge, is ignorance. Okay? So, it is the mind which imagines that there is no knowledge of the self. The mind imagines ignorance of the self. And then mind comes to know that ignorance is gone. It is the mind which is ignorant, and it is the mind which knows. What is that the mind knows? Mind doesn't know Atma. It is not about knowing Atma. The mind imagines that it is ignorant, and the mind understands that there is nothing like ignorance of the self. Self is ever shining. That's it. I don't know whether I could put it properly. So, ignorance and realization, these two states have nothing to do with Atma. You got the point? An example is day and night. These are the two states, have nothing to do with the sun. I always give this example, one more time I am giving. Narada went to sun and praised the glory of the sun. O sun, You are ever shining. Sun, yes, good. You destroy the ignorance. You destroy the darkness. Then sun, oh, you stop there? What is that you say again? You destroy the ignorance. Then sun said, what is that? When did I do that? What is that ignorance? What is the darkness that I am destroying? I don't know that. Please explain to me. You got it? Therefore, all talk of Atma Jnanam, not taking it in the right spirit, is ignorance. Ignorance and realization. Ignorance of Atma. You please consider this. Ignorance of Atma. Is it in Atma or in mind? In the mind. Realization of Atma. Is it in Atma or the mind? Mind. Therefore, ignorance and realization are both states of mind. Atma has nothing to do with it. In fact, Atma doesn't even know that there is ignorance of Atma. And Atma doesn't even know that there is realization of Atma. Atma is like sun, ever shining. Therefore, you see, what about the idea? I am talking about the ideas which are ignorant. What about the idea that the God created this universe? What about the idea? That is an idea. You did not see God when He is creating, right? It is an idea. No, not idea. Not your idea. I know that. It is not your idea. It is somebody else's idea you borrowed, right? Therefore, I know that it is not you that creates the world. And then world is unreal. And therefore, creation of the unreal world. You look at that expression, creation of the unreal world. Is it different from unreal creation of the world? Take this unreal and put it before creation. Same. Did you understand that? This is what is called ajātavada, drishti srushtivada, and ajātavada. Nakaścit jāyate jantuhu sambhavosya na vidyate. Mandukya Upanishad. Therefore, even the idea of a God, the creator, has to be dismissed finally. It has a very provisional status. Because the person is egotistic with identification with the body and all that. Therefore, so I am. And because I am, all else appears. That is the truth. And you try to understand your potential. You have infinite potential in you. You are the Sarvashakti Atma. You are the Sarvashakti, Sarvajña Atma. Understand your potential. Everything will be all right. Here is a question. The question is not in proper shape. Please listen to it. Then you understand that there is nothing to answer. This is a doubt about free will. Okay? The person has no free will. He is a puppet. Good. Atma kalpavrakshaha. Atma has free will. Wrong. Atma has free will? No. Atma kalpavrakshaha. That's all. There I stopped. I did not say Atma has free will. You added it. But they are not separate. Person and free Atma are not separate. Wrong. Person is unreal. Atma is real. You do not say they are not separate. This abheda is wrong. You see, you tell me the serpent and rope are not separate. Can you say that? You cannot say that. That kind of a statement, these false statements, these are very confusing statements. The serpent and the rope are not separate. What are you talking? Serpent is somewhere out there and rope is here, they are separate. No, the imagined serpent. Imagined serpent is unreal. Why do you take up the unreal imagined serpent and say that it is not separate from Rajju? You ask Rajju, oh Rajju, is there an imagined serpent in you? Then the Rajju will say, I don't know anything about it. Right? Therefore, these things have to be said very correctly. You cannot say, so you say, I will tell you how it can lead to a lot of confusion. You say that Advaita, yes. Brahma alone is real, yes. So the world is an appearance in Brahma, yes. That means world is not separate from Brahma, wrong. You got the point? It is wrong. No, world is Brahma only because it is not real, therefore it is Brahma only. No, wrong. World is not Brahma. अरे जगत ब्रह्मा क्या बात है? ब्रह्म सत्यम जगन मिथ्या. You suppose you say the lie is the truth. How does it sound? The untruth is the truth. These are all very confusing statements. You should not say like that. You should be very cautious. Brahma alone is real. The world is an appearance, and Brahma upholds the appearance of the world. But without Brahma there is no appearance of the world even. But the world is not real. Do not say world and Brahma are same. They are not same. Brahma is Brahma. World is only an appearance. So you have to be very cautious about it. Am I clear? You cannot confuse between the two. Therefore, so this kind of a statement that that person and Atma are not separate, wrong. They are separate. Person is unreal, shadow, and Atma is real. You and your shadow are not separate. Do you agree? You don't agree. You and your shadow are not separate, wrong. You and your shadow are not separate is a wrong statement. So, I and my shadow are not separate is a wrong statement. Therefore, I and my shadow are separate is also a wrong statement. Because without you, there is no shadow. This complication is there in Advaita Vedanta. This has to be very cautiously addressed. And quite often, the people, they gloss over it, they don't address it properly, they make wrong statements and get away with all that. So I have addressed these issues in one essay, Karya-Karana-Vada essay. I have addressed it to some extent. The painter is in the picture. Therefore, person equal to Atma. Wrong. Person is not equal to Atma. So this means one has free will and no free will at the same time. Wrong. So the question is wrong. Am I clear? I am not going to answer that question anymore. Am I clear? Can I proceed further? Lobhāttyajatimitrāṇi. That is the question. Why people lose friends? Tyajatimitrāṇi means you lose the friend. Why do you lose the friend? It is an interesting question about friend and keeping the friend, keeping the friendship with the friend, losing the friendship with the friend. It's an interesting question. When you are greedy and ambitious, you lose friends. You see, when a person is ambitious, even his wife will get out from him, get away from him. Because the ambitious person is very selfish person. He will exploit the wife for his ambition. You know that? These are called political marriages. You know that? So they marry in order to further their career. Okay? And for some reason, the career did not further because he expected the career to progress because of the marriage. Suppose the career did not progress, he will find fault with the married wife. This is how people are. Therefore, people say, without ambition, we cannot do anything. How wrong they are. Without love, you cannot do anything. Not without ambition. So in our social life what happens is we feel that ambition is necessary to achieve a certain end. That is how we feel. So the end may be personal end, sometimes collective end also. Some collective end. Ideologues are like that. The ideologue has an end which is more collective than personal. And therefore the ideologue will be working to achieve that end, which is a collective end. And in the process he will violate dharma. And the person, he is very greedy and he has a personal end. And to achieve it he violates dharma. Therefore these are the ambitious people. You see, a clerk wants to become a manager. A manager wants to become the boss. The minister wants to become the prime minister. Greed. Okay? So, the lieutenant wants to become the general. You see, in India what happened, there was a chief minister. And he had a minister close to him, very relative and close also. Very close friends. In fact, that minister helped the chief minister a lot. For 2 years, 3 years, he helped him. The chief minister came to America. Okay. And then his trusted lieutenant, the minister, he created a coup d'etat. And he has dethroned the chief minister while he is in America. And he became chief minister. Ambition. You understand ambition? So people are willing to give up the loyalty for the sake of ambition. Ambition is very dangerous. But what people say, oh, ambition is important to achieve anything. That is what people say. So, you see, where there is ambition, there is comparison. We are hardwired to compare from the childhood. This I said earlier in one of the classes. The children were encouraged to compare. As children, we were encouraged to compare. How many marks you got? 80. Look at him, he got 90. So that means I did not compare. I am happy without comparing. But the person asks me, who is the person? Father, mother, both. They are the persons. So they ask me to compare with that person. So the happiness of getting 80 marks is evaporated. And then that becomes a habit. That becomes a habit. So that is how we are grown up, we are brought up, and therefore the comparison, so that is there in our lives. And when there is comparison, ambition follows. When you compare, you become ambitious. If you don't compare, you will not be ambitious. Greed. Therefore, an ambitious person is not really a creative person. Ambitious people can become head of the places, but they cannot discover anything worthwhile. Okay? Because an ambitious person his life is fixed in the narrow tunnel of me and my goal. That is how the life moves. Therefore, he cannot be a creative person. He can never be a happy person. Never. And he remains discontented all his life. Ambitious person is like that. But the society says, what a marvelous person you are. That is what the society says. And the ambitious person smiles. He will be crying inside, but smiles outwardly. So, because in the society's vision, you are a success. Ambitious person is a success in the society's outlook. But in himself, he is an unhappy person. Therefore, this constant struggle to become something, that is the greed, ambition, is very destructive. the becomer, the one who wants to become, the becomer is a machine. He is not a human being, he is a machine. He will never really know what joy is. Shall I tell you one thing? When you know what joy is, you will know what joy is when you understand what you are. Not when you want to become something other than what you are. You got the point? Therefore, ambition. So, you see, it is a comparison, it is a contest between becoming and being. A becomer will never know the being. The being is what is. The becomer is always struggling to become something what he already is, something other than what he already is. Is it clear? Therefore, so when you understand yourself, the being, I am the being, I need not become anything. It is not about becoming. It is about understanding the being. When you understand the being which you are, that brings extraordinary relaxation and joy. And also it brings out the creative thought. And you can even become a self-realized soul. Therefore, we have to put aside this greed. Otherwise, it will deprive us of the near and dear. A greedy person, an ambitious person, we have seen it, but it has come again. An ambitious person, he has no near and dear. He has only the ambition. Therefore, people live with ambition. They live with ambition. Very sorry to say that. That is their daily bread, the ambition. Okay? And it is a poisonous bread. And it produces all kinds of misery. This poisonous bread called ambition produces all kinds of misery. So, because you are all students of Vedanta, I ask you, you want to look within, you want to go deep within, you want to understand within, understand yourself. If that is what you are looking for, then obviously you must become free of ambition. You must. You should stop this competition, the comparison, competition, envy, greed. You should put, they are all same. You should put all of that aside. So, you have to look within and ask the question to yourself, can I become free completely of ambition? You can. The trick is, do not compare yourself with anybody else. That is all. You do not compare yourself with anybody else. Do you know, one wife is fighting with her husband. Look at the neighbor's wife. Because the neighbor's wife and the ladies, there is a small wall in between, they talk with each other, So across the wall. So the lady tells her husband, look at the neighbor's wife. She has the 50 tulas of gold. Look at me. How much gold I have? 1 tula. He is also doing government job. You are also doing government job. What kind of a job you are doing, sir, in the office? That is what she says. Then that man says, he takes bribe. That is what, see, comparison. She compares and therefore he is comparing. Then she says, you take bribe? Did I ask you not to take bribe? Then he says, I don't want to take bribe. I am happy with what I have, what I get. You are happy with what you get, but what about me? This is how we live, I tell you. It need not be the lady only, it can be the other way also. Even sometimes the son and daughter also complain like that. Therefore, you see, can I become free from ambition? Yes, you can, provided you stop comparing yourself with others. It is possible to become free of ambition. It is entirely possible, but it may not be easy. It is possible. So, because we are addicted to ambition, we live the life like that. Therefore, it becomes difficult to get rid of ambition. Because ambition implies more. All the time, more and more and more. A person who is caught in this more is caught in time. He is not in the present. He is always imagining the future. And so, he becomes bound. Therefore, so once again I brought the issue of ambition to psychological time. When you become free from psychological time, simultaneously you become free from ambition. Okay? But then you need not dismiss chronological time. You have to pay attention to psychological time only. Chronological time, you keep it. You respect it. You see, we create the psychological time with ambition. Because of ambition, because of greed, we create it. We can stop creating it. We have to stop creating it. I would suggest one thing before concluding. It may sound a bit harsh, but please don't mind. A point is being made. Can I die to tomorrow? That is the point. Not only to tomorrow, but to 200 tomorrows. Can I die to tomorrow, 100 tomorrows? Not about to purchase the plane ticket and travel, not that, not the chronological time. You respect that. But otherwise, other than the chronological time, I die to tomorrow. One day we all will die. Once we die, where is tomorrow? And why not do it now itself while living? Therefore, die to tomorrow, psychologically. Die to the social structure, psychologically. Because the society wants you to compare, to be greedy. That is what the society wants you. One has to die to the society. I don't care what the society wants. I am dead to the society. There is no more comparison in my life. I am not ambitious. I am devoted to duty. That is coming. One should be devoted to duty, not ambitious. Therefore, lobhāttyajatimitrāṇi. Ambition is poison and we put aside. Then finally, saṃgātsvargaṃ gacchati. If you have attachment, you will not reach heaven. It can be physical heaven, which is promised for the people who perform certain rituals. Even in Christianity, they promise heaven. You can go to heaven if you worship God, have faith in God. All kinds of things are said. That is the physical heaven. So suppose the person is attached to the worldly things, he will miss the physical heaven, obviously, right? Suppose one is attached to things in India, then he cannot come to America. And one is attached to things of America, then he cannot go back to India. It works like that, you know. Therefore, if you are attached to the things of the world, you miss the heaven. That is what he is saying. Saṃgātsvargaṃ gacchati, the physical heaven. But then I take the spiritual heaven. Spiritual heaven is Atma. Svargaṃ is bliss. Joy is bliss. That is the Atma. And if you are attached, then you miss the Atma. You don't reach the Atma. You will not know what is joy. Because when people are attached to what? All kinds of things. this is one thing which is a bit harsh to say, but we end up saying anyway. So, you see, Mahatmas do not attach to anything. They are like wind. Wind blows in and then picks up a little scent, if it is scent around, blows out and hands over the scent elsewhere and goes its way. That is how the wind is called in Sanskrit gandhavaha, that which carries the scent. If there is a flowery tree, the wind coming from there brings fragrance and leaves the fragrance here and goes elsewhere. It doesn't carry fragrance permanently. So, wind is like that. It doesn't get attached to anything. Sometimes the wind brings bad smell, but then leaves the bad smell and goes away. Okay? Therefore, one has to be like the wind. Mahatmas are like the wind. They don't identify. Don't take the comparison wrong way. The Mahatmas, they don't identify with anything. That's why I said earlier, you never ask a Mahatma, did you miss me? Because he will not answer the question. Because if he doesn't tell a lie. Yes, I missed you, he won't tell. I don't miss you, you will feel bad about it. Therefore, don't ask that question. Mahatmas are like wind. They come, they go, that's it. They are not attached. Whereas samsaris, they get attached so readily. You take a room in a hotel for 2 days and then it is time to vacate it, but you don't want to vacate it because you are attached to the thing. Like that samsaris are. They see something, get attached to that. And so, all kinds of physical things they get attached. They get attached to life forms, all kinds of life forms they get attached. And then they get attached to members of the family, members of the community, this, that. And then there is another kind of attachment which people generally do not talk about. And that is attachment to ideas. That is very dangerous. You see, a religious zealot, is he not attached to the idea which is called religion? What is religion? Is it not an idea of God? It is idea of God. And one is attached to that. He becomes a religious fanatic. Is it not so? That is the attachment to an idea. And what are the ideologues? The ideologues are all attached to their version of an idea. They pick up an idea and get attached to that. All kinds of attachments people have. That's why you should not go after an ideologue. He will mislead you. And you yourself don't want to become an ideologue. You want to become self-realized soul. You want to become free or you want to become an ideologue? What is it that people come to study Vedanta and become ideologues? That doesn't help. So, you see, suppose you learn yoga. You go to a yoga school and learn yoga. And what for you have learned yoga? To remain healthy, physically and mentally. That is the purpose of yoga. So you forget that and become a propagandist for the yoga. What is that? Unnecessary, you know. So, because there are many schools of yoga and you start become a campaigner for one of those schools because they fight among themselves. And so you become campaigner for one of the schools. The first day one, why did you go to yoga? To become a campaigner of that school or to become mentally and physically healthy? What was the goal on the day one? Then why people forget the goal so readily? Because instead of getting connected to good health, they get connected to the ideology. This phenomenon is there in the world. I don't know whether you have noticed when we started the class at 6, right? So I mention it and then leave it. The system is started to benefit the person, right? Any system, you start it to serve the individual, right? Now, soon, that original purpose gets forgotten, it is totally ignored, and the individual starts serving the system. You got the point? So, you make a home so that the home serves you, right? But after a while, the home doesn't serve you, you start serving the home. Some example I gave. Why you pursue religion? So that it serves you, so that it saves you. That's why you pursue religion. And now, the religion doesn't save you, you remain in ignorance and unhappiness, but now you want to spread the religion. Why should you spread it? If it has worth in it, it will spread by itself. So this is how people become ideologues. So don't become an ideologue, don't follow an ideologue, do a namaskar from a distance. And you be focused on your physical health and your mental health. Vedanta is for uplifting an individual. It is not meant for creating a society of ideologues. In fact, there is no society. You are the society. So these are some of the deep things that people have to understand, very deep things. Please give a thought to some of the things that I was saying in this 1 hour and also earlier. So, this is the question which I mentioned in the morning about Shat Karmas. I forgot the Shat Karmas, that is what I said. Then I immediately remembered, while eating food I remembered the Shat Karmas. You know what are the Shat Karmas? Adhyayana, Adhyapana. You study Veda and you teach Veda to others too. Dana Pratigraha. You accept charity and you give charity to others. Give charity is Dana, accept charity is Pratigraha. And Yajana, Yajana. You worship God and you help the other people worship God. That is the priest. The priest does a double job. He worships God himself and he helps others to worship God. Yajana is worshipping God. Yajana is helping others to worship God. So, kitne ho gaye? 6 ho gaye na? These are the Shat Karma. These Shat Karmas are meant for only for a Brahmana. They are not meant for Kshatriya and Vaishya. Kshatriya won't come and help you do puja. Kshatriyas, warriors, Vaishya, businessman will not help you to do pujas and all that. And the one who doesn't know any puja, how can he help you do puja? So, only Brahmana means one who is well versed in Vedas. He learns Vedas and he helps you to learn Vedas. He performs rituals and he helps you to perform rituals. He accepts charity from you, pratigraha, dakshina he accepts from you. You see, there is no ritual without dakshina. Dakshina is considered an important part of ritual. That's why whether it is a church or whether it is a temple, there is always dakshina. So, therefore the Brahmana accepts the dakshina and in his turn he donates. He gives dakshina to others. These are the Shat Karma. These Shat Karmas, where did you bring them? They are not for moksha and all that. They are meant for a worldly person, that to a Brahmana who is married and who is performing rituals and all that. That has nothing to do with moksha. It is in the field of ritualism, nothing to do with moksha. Therefore, so doing Shat Karmas in the present, why you can do, if you know how to worship God, you can help others worship God, you can do it. If you don't know, then you cannot do it anyway. Therefore, present day, etc., in the context of Vedanta, the Shat Karmas are not relevant. Okay? That answers the question. But then if you know rituals, you can perform them yourself and help others to perform. If you know Veda, you can chant it, recite it yourself and help others also to recite it. Then you accept charity and give others charity. You may do these things. They have nothing to do with the moksha. Moksha is it's a different thing. Moksha doesn't require such qualifications. Moksha requires 4 qualifications: sadhana chatushtaya, viveka vairagya, shat sampatti and mumukshutvam. So good. That finishes that question. Here is a question. I have come to an understanding about religion. I prefer to say, I am a human being and striving to be better. Good. That is a religion by itself. Belonging to any religion, one stays limited. You add one word extra there. Belonging to an organized religion, one stays limited. You should be religious. I explained what is religion. Shall I tell you what is religion? So work hard and love all. Be sensitive and kind to all life in the creation. And then be good and do good. Shivananda Maharaj. This is the religion. This is the religion of the Upanishads. All religions have the same such lofty principles. So that is the religion. So do good, be good and do good. Meditate and realize. Shivananda Maharaj. And work hard and love all. That is the religion. So be that religion. You need not be an active participant of any organized religion. Because organized religion is mostly founded on belief. And belief divides. Because when you come across somebody who believes the way you believe, you feel camaraderie with him. And when you come across somebody who does not believe the way you believe, and who believes some other way, you feel a sense of enmity with both of them. Therefore, why you enter into all that? So what he says, so belonging to any religion limits a person. There you add the word organized religion. That will be all right. So that is the comment. But you should not be irreligious. You should not be. You should be religious. I told one thing. A person who doesn't belong to any organized religion in the world is the most religious person. That is one thing I told. And I add one more thing in this context. An act of understanding is a religious act. So suppose you understand Newton's laws, that is a religious act. You understand binomial theorem, that is a religious act. You understand that attachment is false, that is a religious act. Understanding of what is, it is coming in next. That is the true religion. Om Purnamada Purnamidam